Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking into a really unsettling case from Australia.
Yeah, the abduction and murder of Karmein Chan back in '91.
Yeah.
It's still one of Victoria's biggest unsolved child murders.
And what makes this deep dive so important, I think, is this core contradiction in the case. Our
Yeah.
sources really lay it out. We've got the timeline, an FBI profile.
And that major twist about how she died. It's, essential stuff if you really want to grasp why this mystery lingers.
It's all about that link police made almost instantly to this figure known as Mr. Cruel.
Exactly. A serial offender who was active around Melbourne at the time.
Okay, so let's set the scene a bit. Karmein Chan, born 1977, eldest of three girls.
Mm-hmm. And a family doing very well for themselves.
Right. Parents owned a successful Chinese restaurant, lived in this, well, $1 million home in Templestowe. Pretty lavish.
Yeah, and Karmein herself was bright, attended a prestigious school, Presbyterian Ladies College, wanted to be a barrister.
The family background is key, isn't it? They stressed education, fluency in both Chinese and English.
It absolutely is key, because straight away you wonder, was this random? Or is it targeted because of their success, their visibility?
Which is a question that gets a potential but confusing answer pretty fast. Let's go to the night itself. April 13th, 1991. A Saturday.
Karmein's day sounds pretty typical. Tennis lessons, breakfast with her mom.
Dinner at the family restaurant. An employee drove the three sisters home around 6:30 p.m.
Their dad left about an hour later, around 7:30, so the girls are home alone.
Watching TV, apparently a special about Marilyn Monroe in Karmein's bedroom.
And then, around 8:40 p.m., that's when it happens. The confrontation. Karmein and her younger sister Carly run into him.
Not outside the house, but inside, in the hallway.
Yeah, and he's described clearly. Green tracksuit, a dark balaclava covering his face, and he's holding a large knife.
The sources even give us his first words. Chilling, really. See this knife? Where's your mom and dad?
It sounds terrifying, but also methodical. There's a disturbing calm to how it unfolds.
He forces all three girls into the bedroom.
Right, and then he deals with the younger sisters, Carly and Karen. Binds them, gags them.
Puts them in a wardrobe and then barricades the wardrobe door with a bed.
It's systematic containment. He even tells them, I won't hurt you, while making sure they can't possibly interfere or escape easily.
Suggests serious planning, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And then, about 50 minutes later, around 9:30 p.m.,
He takes Karmein by her hair. She's barefoot, just in her nightdress.
leads her out, across their tennis court, through a security gate onto the street Serpels Road.
And the assumption is into a vehicle parked nearby.
Mm-hmm. The younger sisters, thankfully, they managed to free themselves not long after. They called their father around 9:45 p.m.
So the abduction itself, incredibly quick. Under an hour from confrontation to escape.
But he leaves something behind, something really odd.
Yeah, this bizarre graffiti. He'd tampered with the electronic gate to get in, which feels professional, planned.
But then he spray paints the family's car, a Toyota Camry.
With slogans like Asian drug dealer, payback, and something like more anon, more to come.
Which just screams misdirection, doesn't it? I mean, think about it.
Right, if it's payback, why not take valuables? $1 million house, successful business. But nothing's stolen, no ransom demand.
Exactly. So the police, almost immediately, they disregard the graffiti. They see it as a deliberate attempt to throw them off the scent.
And within 24 hours, they land on a different theory.
Uh-huh. The location, the victim profile, young girl, the attacker's clothes, balaclava, tracksuit.
It all pointed away from this payback idea and straight towards Mr. Cruel.
This known serial sex offender operating in the area.
And that link initially brought a strange kind of hope, because they knew his pattern.
They did.
Yeah.
Mr. Cruel had a very specific modus operandi based on at least 3 previous attacks between 87 and 90.
What was the pattern?
He always struck during school holidays. He targeted young girls, prepubescent or adolescent, subjected them to sexual assault.
And this was the crucial part, he always released them alive, usually after maybe 50 hours or so.
Yes. Detective Inspector David Sprague even said publicly they hoped for Karmein's release based on Mr. Cruel showing, quote, sympathy previously. The thinking was he knew it was better to let them go.
So they felt Karmein was just being held, and the clock was ticking towards her release.
That was the hope, yeah. Based entirely on his past behavior.
Okay, so if they suspected Mr. Cruel, what did they actually know about him? The profile.
Physically, they had a sketch emerging. Male, probably 30s or 40s, maybe up to 50. Average height, 5'6" to 5'9", medium build.
Fairer sandy hair mentioned, and sometimes a small pot belly.
Right. But the planning was the really striking part. It wasn't opportunistic.
How so?
Neighbors reported seeing a man parked in a sedan just watching the bus stop Karmein used. This was in the weeks before the abduction.
Surveillance. He picked her.
It seems like it, which points to a high degree of organization.
And that level of planning is probably why the FBI got involved, right? They provided a profile.
They did, by April 24th, just over a week later. And it was incredibly specific.
What stood out in the FBI analysis?
They figured he likely lived or worked near the abduction site. Maybe even, worked in a school or somewhere with regular contact with schools or kids.
Interesting. And if he was meticulous in his crimes?
He was likely meticulous elsewhere. The FBI thought he'd be diligent at work, maybe even received awards. A model employee on the surface.
But hiding a dark private life.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They predicted he'd keep pornographic material related to his attacks, things he'd see as having great personal significance. Mementos.
That profile sounds incredibly detailed. They even predicted behavioral changes after the crime.
Yeah, things like sudden, uncharacteristic drinking, maybe poor attendance at work, even a sudden, perhaps, peach religious interest.
If they had all the physical description, the MO, these predicted behavioral details, why wasn't he caught? Sounds like a roadmap.
It was a roadmap. But you have to consider the scale. How many men in Melbourne fit parts of that description? How do you track down every potential lead based on someone suddenly drinking more or missing work?
The sheer volume of possibilities.
Precisely. Which led to this massive manhunt, one of the biggest in Victoria's history.
The Spectrum Task Force, formed in May '91, 40 full-time investigators.
Taking over from the initial Operation Challenge. And the resources thrown at it were just huge.
We're talking 10,000 tips from the public that had to be followed up.
30,000 homes searched. 27,000 people formally interviewed.
That's incredible. Not just neighbors, but doctors, teachers, even police officers themselves.
Anyone who might fit the profile or might have noticed something, plus a reward, initially $100,000, bumped up to $300,000.
And all this time, you have the family waiting, her mother, Phyllis.
Yeah, that detail about her ringing bells at the gate every midnight, calling Karmein's name, following a Chinese custom, just heartbreaking, holding on to hope.
A hope that lasted almost a full year, until April 9th, 1992.
Right. A man walking his dog in Thomastown near Edgar's Creek, wasteland area. He spots something.
A human skull.
It was Karmein. The forensic analysis showed her body had been there for about 12 months, since shortly after the abduction.
Which confirmed the worst. But then the autopsy revealed something that just shattered the dominant theory.
Yeah, this is the critical twist. How she died.
It wasn't incidental violence. It wasn't an accident during a struggle.
No. Karmein Chan died from 3 bullet wounds to the back of her head.
Execution style.
Exactly. 3 shots. Which throws the whole Mr. Cruel theory into chaos, doesn't it?
Absolutely, because his pattern, the one thing they were relying on, was sexual assault followed by release.
This feels completely different. And execution suggests silencing a witness, someone who could identify him. Or maybe, just maybe.
Retribution, like the graffiti suggested all along.
It puts that possibility right back on the table, even though police dismissed it early on. So you have these 2 clashing narratives.
Narrative 1. Mr. Cruel, the meticulous sexual predator, panicked. Karmein saw his face or fought back in a way that made him fear identification, so he escalated to murder, a desperate act.
That's the standard theory, the one most investigators lean towards. It preserves the link to the earlier crimes. Narrative 2. The graffiti was real. This was a hit, maybe related to the family's business or profile, disguised to look like Mr. Cruel's work. And the execution fits that kind of professional, calculated violence.
And there is always that small group of detectives who doubted the Mr. Cruel link precisely because of the execution. It just didn't fit the psychological profile of his other crimes, which seemed purely sexually motivated.
A chilling divergence. So where did the investigation go from there?
Well, the Spectrum Task Force kept working, but was eventually disbanded in 1994. The case officially remains open, though. Cold case detectives review it periodically.
73 people were actually arrested over the years, but all were eventually cleared.
That's right. No charges were ever laid for Karmein's murder. The reward was increased again massively on the 25th anniversary.
To $1 million for information leading to the murderer's conviction.
And there's still a separate $200,000 reward related to Mr. Cruel's other non-fatal attacks.
A formal inquest in 1997 ruled she died by foul play, but couldn't name the killer. And Karmein's mother made another public appeal then, asking the killer to give himself up, saying her concern was for the safety of other girls, especially in their own homes.
A fear amplified by the fact that the attacker, whoever he was, seemingly stopped after Karmein.
Yeah, Mr. Cruel hasn't been definitively linked to any victims since 1991, which raises its own questions.
Did the murder satisfy him? Did the investigation get too close? Or was he perhaps caught for something else, maybe one of those 73 arrests?
Or did he simply die or move away? We just don't know.
So we're left with this deep uncertainty. The abduction itself points strongly to Mr. Cruel, the planning, the methods used on the sisters.
But the ending, the execution-style murder, points somewhere else entirely, or suggests a massive shift in his behavior.
Based on the source material, which feels more defining, the meticulous control during the abduction or the brutal finality of the murder? Was it Mr. Cruel silencing a witness, or was the graffiti telling the truth from the start?
It's the question that keeps this case alive. Did fear drive him underground, or was the execution always the plan, hidden behind a serial killer's signature? Something for you, the listener, to mull over.
Thank you for joining us on The Deep Dive.